Welcome to lovely Soldier Field, where the Kansas City Chiefs trounced the Chicago Bears 26-3. Chiefs now improved to 11-4 on the season with one game to go in the regular season before the start of the postseason. Sam, was this kind of like an anticlimactic game to you?
Yeah, it was. I mean, Sam McDowell made the point. It was the same game as last week, except at night and not in the snow. I mean, it was a dominating win. The offense last week was better than 23 points. I thought the offense this week was better than 26. The last quarter, probably more, was just about running clock. I mean, the game was won, so they weren't really trying to push the ball. It was just about clock. It was. The Bears might have quit too. Like I know we're going to talk about like the Chiefs side of this, but like if I'm a Bears fan, that was a miserable experience.
It was a miserable experience, but it was also a joyous experience for the Kansas City Chiefs, who now finished the regular season 7-1 on the road. The last time the Chiefs won 7 or more games on the road was, you have to go all the way back to 1966. So this is actually pretty impressive. Some of the things, and I know Sam is saying here that, from the Bears' point of view was frustrating, but Sam was also prophetic here. You wrote about red zone issues, and I didn't see any out there today. What happened out there?
They were great. Can I use the escape hatch of like, I'll need to watch the film to see what happened? But like when I was going through last week about the problems that they would have, I thought it was going to be about the run game, and it's just not. It's about the passing, and it's mostly just execution. I know that's like a cliche kind of thing, but it was, at least from what I could tell, it's just mostly about execution. And again, like I don't want to like this isn't time to bury the Bears, but I just don't know like how much to take from that game. That was not the Bears' best effort. You know what I mean? But that said, the Chiefs, you can only play the team that you're playing, and they look great.
One of the things that really impressed me about this, and I think I think we'll all agree, the game was pretty much over at halftime.
Yeah.
Once the Chiefs went up 17-0, it seemed like it really took the air out of the Bears team and also out of the stadium. But what was impressive about the Chiefs, those two soul-crushing drives. And we're talking 8+ plays, 80+ yards, consuming a lot of time, and the Bears, for all their defensive stuff, they just could not stop them. What really jumped out to you in that first half, Sam?
To me, a little bit of what I wrote about, which was Damien Williams, I think adds a different element, and I actually think it plays hand in hand with the first topic with the red zone. They hit on the red zone on one of their plays on a third down play to Damien Williams, and Andy Reid likes to use his running backs in the passing game in short yardage, and he hasn't really been doing that. I remember that Darrell Williams caught a short pass against the Raiders on a red zone play for a touchdown. But other than that, the running backs have 4 touchdowns this year, and Damien Williams, even though he's missed 5 games, still has 2 of them in the passing game, I mean. So I think getting him back will solve a few of those issues. Mm-hmm. But you're right. I mean, the way they sustain drives, and Mahomes made a lot of that happen on that first drive. I mean, he absolutely blitzed the ball into Sammy Watkins, who, by the way, has like a jammed, almost it looks broken finger before the game. So he caught that ball with that situation, and then Tyreek Hill, same thing. He kind of blitzed the ball into Tyreek Hill.
That first drive there, Patrick Mahomes converted 2 third-and-long plays, a 3rd and 10, and that'd be 3rd and 16.
I think it was 18. I thought it was 18.
3rd and 16, 3rd and 18, but both of them went to Tyreek Hill, and that really set the tone. The first part of the game really set the tone, and I know national media outlets were trying to build this up into a Mahomes versus Mitchell Trubisky.
Not just national. We were talking about it too.
Okay, we're trying to downplay.
So was the quarterback, by the way.
And what did you take out of that? There was one. I know some of the cameras, NBC cameras, caught Patrick Mahomes counting to 10 after a touchdown. And what do you think of? What did you make about that?
First of all, I made out like this is what I'm going to write about because I thought it was funny. First of all, and second of all, like it's out of character a little bit, or at least out of like what we've seen from Mahomes so far in his career. Like. He's super confident, like bordering on cocky, like Vic Fangio, like famously plays with an athletic arrogance. I love that term. And he absolutely does, but he's never said anything about another player negative. He's never he doesn't taunt, like he does his little clean yourself off after he scores a touchdown. But that's the first time there was ever anything that you could even interpret as, ooh, like he's going after the other side. And I'm here for it. Like I loved it. Like I absolutely loved it. But I mean, look, It's a couple things. One, it's as much as they say like we don't think about that, we don't think about it. They think about it. You know, they absolutely think about it. I also think he's a proud, like, you don't get to this level, let alone like the level that he's at, but you don't get to the NFL if you're not motivated in some ways by that, or if you don't hear that and use it for fuel, kind of thing. And the other thing, I think this is absolutely true about him. He knows how his teammates respond to him. And I think he knows when he does something like that, his teammates are going to notice and they're going to like it. Because one thing I found, you know, in the post game, Patrick was like, I don't know why I counted, you know, like I was just, you know, whatever. But Sammy Watkins told me that Mahomes had a couple of them on the sideline, and he was just like, yeah, I counted, and this is why, and like talk to him about it. So like they know, and he knows that it gives them energy. I think that's why he's doing it.
But you're right that it's out of character. In fact, you and I talked about it during the game that I actually said, I wonder how he's going to answer this in a press conference.
Yeah.
Because when we ask him stuff, he doesn't. He might not always give us the best answer, but he doesn't usually shy away from exactly what we're asking him about. And this was a situation where it is so out of character that I couldn't foresee him admitting that that's what he was doing in that situation.
I thought the way that he might answer it is to say, I was trying to get my teammates pumped up or something like that. Because I feel like that's why he was doing it. But it was almost sheep, and he was asked 5 times, maybe more, about, you know, at
like
one
almost
point,
in a row,
Yeah, at one point, like, he kept saying, like, I don't know, there wasn't a meaning, you know, all this stuff. And then somebody was like, you could have done this, you could have counted to 10 in any game after any touchdown in any stadium. And he wouldn't, you know, he wouldn't go for it. He just, you know, he was stubborn about that.
Well, how about this? The Kansas City Chiefs official Twitter account tweeted out a photo, and they said Patrick Mahomes' number in college was 5, and then when the Chiefs drafted him, he added 10 to it to give it 15. I mean, so I agree with you too. There is something to it.
There's no doubt. There's not even a question.
Yes, I mean,
that's the reason.
It's not 99.9.
Right.
It's 100.
It's 100 without him admitting it.
But of course, 'cause he told his teammates about it on the sideline. And like, why? I mean, there's literally no other reason that, like, that was not a 10-yard touchdown pass.
Sure.
Today's not the 10th of December. Like, there's just like there's.
It does go back to just, and I know this, we're going to talk a lot about the Chiefs, but just the agony of watching that game as a Bears fan.
Jesus.
Not only for 60 minutes do you have to be reminded of the guy you could have had, but then even just the topper of all toppers was Harrison Butker hitting both uprights, which was coined the double doink here when Cody Parkey did it. And the NBC cameras actually caught Mahomes laughing when that happened and mouthing double doink. And it's just like, it was all picture in one, that if you were a Bears fan, that had to just be a grueling, awful experience for the last 60 minutes.
And the bad thing is, because we're in the press box, so we do see the TV, but we don't pay too much attention to it. But somebody was tweeting at me or texting me that every time Mitchell Trubisky threw a bad pass, the camera would pan over to Patrick Mahomes. So I can only imagine what the booth was talking about. But yeah,
that's great producing.
If you're Matt Nagy and you're seeing that, I mean, what's going through your head?
He liked Trubisky. Like, he liked him in that draft, and, you know, fundamentally, he would not have taken that job if he didn't believe in him. It's a weird situation because from everything that I can tell, Matt is passing every test as far as like the leadership and, you know, before tonight, you know, effort and things like that. But the offense just isn't working. The defense is pretty good. The defense is pretty damn good, and he has nothing to do with the defense.
Right.
It's all about play design and, you know, like his offensive prowess, and it's just not showing up.
And
so far.
timing of when he calls the plays, I think, is pretty bizarre. I mean, the amount of times they pass the ball just shocks me.
Yeah.
We should acknowledge that we are live here, so we will take some questions. Somebody wants to know, to kind of feed Herbie one here, could the Honey Badger end up being the most impactful signing? This is from R.J. Weaver. In Chiefs history, if it leads to a Super Bowl. Obviously, Tyrann Mathieu's been incredible, and Sam had a tweet that I thought was also fitting that I actually talked to Tyrann about, where he said he's got the most almost interceptions in the
it's
league.
Unbelievable.
And him and I just had a casual conversation in the locker room after the game, and where I was kind of going over one specific play late in the game where he got
the dive.
Yeah, and he kind of got. he saw somebody coming. It turned out to be his own teammate, and it kind of distracted him a little bit, took his eyes off the ball there. But as soon as he was done recapping the play, he said, "Man, I should be leading the league in interceptions right now." But still, I mean, he's been incredible this year.
He's absolutely been incredible, but the key part there is they have to win the Super Bowl first. Is he enough to get him there? Absolutely. The one thing that's really jumping out to me about this Chiefs defense, and we've talked about this over the last month, and it's very impressive what they've done. This is the 5th straight game that the Chiefs have now held an opponent to 18 points or less. 3rd time out of the last 4 games, they've held an opponent to 10 points or less. That's a pretty impressive streak. 2 straight games, you held them to a field goal.
And the one exception to that, the 3 out of 4, is the Patriots game, right?
Correct.
And if I remember right, it was 24-17. Was that the score of that game?
23-16.
16. One of the Patriots' touchdowns was off that block punt. It was like a 20-yard drive or whatever. I mean, they're smoking right now.
I think that ESPN tweeted out some stats that it's the first time since like 2006 that the Chiefs have not allowed a touchdown in back-to-back games, and that over the last 5 weeks they've got the best points per game against in the NFL. And
it should improve next week against the Los Angeles Chargers, who have pretty much given up on the year.
Yeah.
This team with Matthew, with Frank Clark, the linebacker core, Juan Thornhill, this is an emerging. Well, they're not even emerging anymore. They're here, and this is a fantastic time of the year because you built that momentum up, and in 2 weeks the playoffs start.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to be able to catch the Patriots. I just can't see that happening at this point. I think the Bills didn't do the Chiefs any favor on Saturday, but
the Dolphins.
Yeah, you don't like the Dolphins in that game.
The Patriots got on this next week. Yeah.
So you're going to put okay. Like I said, I don't know if they're going to be able to catch them, but Matthew certainly is playing a large role in that, and he hasn't given our colleague Vahe Gregorian the pick 6 yet. Maybe that'll come next week. Maybe Phillip Rivers will give him that favor. But yeah, he's a huge part. Welcome to
What's up, buddy?
Gregorian. Perfect timing because we're talking about the defense, and somebody here wrote about the defense.
I like how you set me up for success. Good evening, everyone. I'm Vahe Gregorian. I'm with these guys. What do you want me to talk about? Defense?
What'd you write about?
I wrote about the defense, and some things were interesting, including a statistic from Sam McDowell that bolstered it. First time since 2006 that the Chiefs went back-to-back games. Did you guys already use that?
We did use that one.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to fill in the glue of the
you can reinforce
thing
it
here. But look, I mean, I think here's the sort of the thing, and we've been driving at this in different ways for some weeks, but I think when the season began and when they just blew up the defense, basically you just thought they have to just be better, competent to average, and that might be enough to make this work. And now they're a little bit past that. I mean, they're an advantage. How that will look against the superior teams in the playoffs is a whole nother matter, right? But you only can play who you're playing right now, and they're playing great. I mean, that's 3 touchdowns in 5 weeks. That's the thing that stands out to me. And you pointed out, Sam Mellinger, that at least one of those, maybe 2 of those, were really set up by snafus from other parts of the game, a blocked punt.
And they've also scored, like Thornhill had the pick 6. They also set up, Matthew almost had the pick 6 in Mexico City, set up an easy touchdown. So, it's a funny thing because they're still giving up some yards on the ground. Like stopping the run is a thing. And you wonder how that's going to play in a potential game against Baltimore. But that's like a month away.
Right.
We got time to talk about that.
And look, it is funny too. I mean, this is a little bit of a digression, but we don't always see the teams you think you're going to see.
Totally.
I mean, all these things can play out differently than we might expect.
Yep.
So it's just sort of play the game you have, but I would never have expected them to have this kind of streak. I thought they'd be better, but this is pretty impressive. And look, I get that. I mean, this game is really the showcase of, what the Bears did in the draft and what the Chiefs did in the draft, and I'm sure you guys talked about that a lot. Did you say that Patrick seemed a little defensive?
I don't know about defensive.
Defensive's the wrong word, but a little regretful.
Like,
I thought, yeah.
I don't know.
I really thought, honestly, I thought he might have felt like he was embarrassed it got caught on camera.
I wonder if he felt bad that. I think he wanted to like lift his teammate, like give his teammates some energy, but yeah, maybe felt bad, regretted, whatever the word is, about how that would look to the other side, like to putting another team quarterback down.
He has said several times that him and Trubisky, and I know Watson was the same way. Three of them kept in contact. They're going to the same visits. So you're probably right. If he's got any regret, it's probably a fear that he made a friend look bad.
How did you guys feel about Patrick doing it? I didn't really like it, to be honest with you.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I didn't have an issue with it.
It fed a column.
I didn't have an issue with it because we all know that the professional players are highly competitive, and a lot of them like to have something in the back of their mind that fuels them. Alex Smith, he was fueled, and so it's only natural for a quarterback when you think you are the best quarterback in the draft, and yet you see a team trade away 4 picks or whatever it was to move up one spot, and they take Mitchell Trubisky, and now you're stuck waiting there. Aaron Rodgers is another prime example of a guy that used the draft site as motivation. So I didn't have a problem with it.
I mean, Drew Lock talked about. That was
bingo. You wrote about
it a lot last week when I talked with them.
But that's still a little different than coming to Mitch Trubisky's place and doing that, right? I mean, it just, to me, it was not what I'm accustomed to seeing out of Patrick. I feel like I do, look, we certainly see some swagger, and I get that you fire yourself up in different ways, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
A few people have been asking us about playoff matchups, and Herbie, kind of update us on where the Chiefs sit right now. And
you so put me on the spot. I haven't even looked at it yet. Off the top of my head, we do know the Baltimore Ravens clinched the number 1 seed. They were in a win situation today, and that's basically what they did. New England is still ahead of the Chiefs by 1 game, and so right now they have the inside track to number 2, because I refuse to say they control their own destiny, which I will say to anyone who's listening out there, destiny is predetermined, so you cannot control it. So I have no idea where all these TV talking heads keep saying the Chiefs control their own destiny. No, they don't. It's predetermined. All right, I digress.
But I like that distinction. I really do. I appreciate that.
The Chiefs right now are slotted at 3rd, and the Houston Texans are at 4th. 5th right now, we know for a fact, are the Buffalo Bills, and because the Steelers lost, now all of a sudden the final week is 100% in flux. Texans are still in it, and believe it or not, the Oakland Raiders can sneak in there. That's right, the Titans. The Oakland Raiders can somehow sneak into that final spot there, but they need a lot of things to happen, and of course Sam put me on the spot, and I don't have it in front of me, so I don't know what the scenarios are.
Look at that.
But so can you answer this? The Chiefs can still fall to 4.
2, 3, or 4.
Yeah.
Because, like Herbie said, they're in the 3 spot. If they would lose, then the Texans could hop them if they win. If they win, then they could up the Patriots if the Patriots somehow lose to Miami.
Right.
But what a lot of people are asking us...
Who do the Texans play?
The Texans play the Titans.
What a lot of people are asking us is who's the best matchup for the Chiefs? I mean, who do we think that...
It's not the Titans. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's not the Titans because Derrick Henry did not play against the Saints today because they're saving him for Houston next week. And we know what Derrick Henry does to the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, in a perfect world, they host Oakland.
Houston
Oakland
clinched.
sneaks in. Yes.
Okay, we're on that.
And they clinched the division as well.
Yeah.
So all 4 division winners are clinched.
I think there was some sort of funky thing to where the Steelers had the tiebreak over the Titans, but now based on certain other external factors, whether it's strength of schedule or whatnot, I think if the Titans and the Steelers win, that the Titans would get that spot. Now the Titans, they're both in weird spots because the Titans play the Texans, who have clinched a playoff spot and the division, but the Texans could get the 3 seed. So they have a little bit to play for. Now, Baltimore is who the Steelers play, and they've got nothing to play for next week. And
yeah, they might actually rest some people.
it is a rival, so I mean, Herbie, you know what goes into that.
But the other thing too is Mark
Ingram's
Ingram's hurt.
A rival out,
but Ingram's hurt too,
and maybe that teaches you a lesson to save your guys. So
if you've already clinched the number 1 seed, most head coaches will err on the side of caution. Yeah, that's what you do.
But Andy Reid was asked, you know, how important is the number 2 seed to you? And obviously he's not going to say, you know, well, we know the Patriots are going to win, so we're going to rest our guys. But he says they're going for it next week, that they're going to play to win next week against the Chargers, which I do think is a decision when the Patriots are playing the Dolphins. And
what time?
What
are the game times?
Noon.
Both at noon.
Yeah,
both noon. Oh, everything's at noon that day, right?
Well,
Isn't it?
No, but every light game is in the same time.
Okay,
slot,
okay.
So for that reason, but
Right.
I think it's a decision that you've got to actually weigh because you've had so many injuries this year.
But I think going into the latter part of the season, the Chiefs right now are relatively healthy. The only person that you really have to worry about who's hurt right now is Andrew Wiley. Well, then of course,
What'd they say
Spencer
about
Ware
Ware,
with a
yeah.
shoulder injury.
Ware and Breland got hurt, and Reed downplayed those to a certain extent, I would say. He said, you know, they both came back after they had suffered those injuries initially, so that they're going to be okay. But maybe those are 2 guys that maybe you don't sit everybody. Maybe you sit those 2 guys.
You got talking. I'm sorry, Herbie. You got talking to Damien Williams tonight, but I'm interested in the dynamics of this. I mean, I don't remember where along the line Ware got hurt, but he was sort of the feature back in the early part of the
Williams
game.
already had been the feature back at that point. In the second half.
Oh, when he got hurt.
Damien Williams started the second half when Ware was still healthy.
Oh, when he was still healthy.
And
okay.
He took over that drive.
Okay.
And then Ware came in to spell him and got injured.
Why did it play out that way?
I think to ease Damien Williams. I mean, he's missed 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And he's missed 3 games. He's missed 4.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Trying to buy. Yeah.
Okay.
Going back to your
I guess
original-
Andy will do it that way. That's pretty typical.
But going back to your original question, do you want to play the Buffalo Bills? Because if you screw up and slide down to the 4 seed, it's 4 versus 5.
I don't think the Bills are. They're all good teams or whatever, but I feel like it's the Titans and the Ravens are the teams that I'm like. If I was the Chiefs, I'd be worried about. And Houston, I think Houston's really good. I don't think the Bills can score enough. You know what I mean? And I think their defense they're good, but you're going to hold Mahomes under 20? I don't think that's going to happen.
That's a pretty good defense, though.
They're good, but
it'll be interesting.
Chiefs have a good offense. I don't know. Doesn't matter, right? But that's just my gut feeling. I feel like the Titans are an awful matchup. So are the Ravens, and they're really freaking good. And same with the Texans.
Yeah. What do you want to see?
I mean, as a writer standpoint, I think the Tennessee matchup just feeds us all storylines, I think, because of what Tennessee's come into that building and done, and because of the matchup is currently still the issue for the Chiefs. And I think again tonight, for like 3 or 4 straight weeks, I'm shocked at how little an opposing team is running against the Chiefs.
Well, they just seem to stop sooner than you thought they would, right? I mean,
I don't think Matt Nagy really ever starts establishing the run game, but the Raiders was a good example of that. I mean, they just completely stopped running. The Broncos, Phillip Lindsay, I think how many carries did he have? 7 carries last week.
No, he had more than that, didn't he?
I think he just had 7 or 8
Wasn't it
carries.
like
8 carries last week, maybe.
All right. Here's this. Since we were talking about defense and this, what did we think about Terrell Suggs coming out there and did he make enough of an impact to say he's definitely the guy that we think that is going to help the Chiefs down the stretch here?
I thought he played well. There was a run. It seemed like most of the time Clark was rushing against the right tackle and Suggs was rushing against the left. There was a play. It was a running play to the right. And Suggs just barreled through at least a blocker or 2 or 3 and made the tackle. I can't remember if it was a loss. It was right around the line of scrimmage. And that play right there is a play that Frank Clark has made on that defensive line and nobody else. That gives you something right off the bat. It's just, I know we've talked about this before, but it is crazy that guy for that spot, that specific need was available for this team.
I know.
It was just such a lucky break.
I didn't really get to write about this, and maybe you guys, I can't remember anymore where I've read it, but I didn't realize that Frank Clark was such an admirer of Suggs. To the point where
I thought that was interesting as well.
yeah, and to the point where he
55.
suggested 55.
Yeah.
Nope. Lights going out.
Yeah. Maybe that's a show.
Boy.
Interesting. I don't know. Can we be seen?
We'll find
We'll
out.
be heard but not seen.
We're on delay.
Okay.
So we should find out
In
about
3,
happens.
2.
10 seconds.
I think the Chicago Bears are trying to give us a hint here.
Yeah.
All the press box lights.
Huh.
I think
Yeah.
that's a show. I think
Yeah.
that's gonna be
Okay,
a show.
guys. Yeah, the lights in the press box are going out. I think the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field are trying to give us a hint. So, with Vahe Gregorian, Sam McDowell, and Sam Mellinger, I am Herbie Teope. We are all with the Kansas City Star. We will see you next week at a Big O Tires, live from Soldier Field. Have a good night. Has this ever happened before? Wait a minute.
It did.
Not like
Oh,
this.
we're still live.
Still on. We're still rolling.
No, but wasn't there a game last year? It was a home game, right?
Yeah, but I feel like we got through. Didn't we get through the Facebook Live and then it all went dark?